Oh my gosh. Wow, this is really happening. What's up, y'all? What's up, family? How y'all doing? Oh man, this is unbelievable. My name is Kamal X. Thank you guys for showing up. This is the In the Moment Black Lives Matter photo exhibition. I'm so happy to be here. Happy to be sharing this moment with you, sharing these stories with you. And man, what a time to be alive, right? So before we start, I want to get straight into gratitude, 100%. Gratitude for the amazing people at 111 Minna for putting this together, especially in these times. We're all dealing with so many different things, trying to stay balanced, stay afloat, and having this outlet and bringing people together virtually and bringing just a vibe of creativity, art, just beautiful, just being human again. I greatly appreciate it. And I want to thank you guys for all that. Michelle, Alex, Josh, man, it's so dope. So much gratitude. And all the creators that have been a part of this too. So much gratitude. Taking it to you guys also that are coming in to check in on this show, that have been following all the other episodes that have been going down. Before we get into this Black Lives Matter talk, I definitely want to also give you gratitude. We are definitely in crazy times right now. This is something that none of us could have ever seen coming. And with that said, I do believe that a lot of us have been working really hard. A lot of us have been doing the right thing. A lot of us have been educating ourselves and becoming better people and having those self-reflective conversations, because that's what this thing is forcing us to do, is kind of look inward. And because of that, I know a lot of us, especially from personal experience, myself, friends, and just from what I'm seeing, we're all on this internal journey that we never really had to tap into, not to this level anyway. So I want to give you credit. I want to give you, I want you to give yourself acknowledgement, because the world can make it seem like there's so much negativity, so much divisiveness, and rarely do we applaud each other for the good things. So this constant regurgitation of things that aren't necessarily serving us can make us feel like this is what the world is, that this is where we are, and we can start feeling down on ourselves. But I believe that a lot of us are really doing the right thing. A lot of us are really pushing hard. I've seen personally people expanding themselves, learning different things, bringing bridges together instead of pushing them apart. So first and foremost, again, give yourself a pat on the back for doing hard work to make this world a greater place. And that's really what this is all about, right? When you think about the Black Lives Matter, what's been going on, the unfortunate situations that led us to this place, a lot of it, has to do with, from my perspective anyway, the outlook that I'm having is that we are creating a new world. We have the responsibility. It's our time. So much craziness was going on, and so many things were put in place to demoralize people and control people and stop freedom from being what it really is. And it sucks that this is happening, that the things that took place, the unfortunate deaths of George Floyd, and then before George Floyd, there was Ahmaud Arbery, horrible things to witness and feel. And I still feel it in my heart as I even speak about it right now, which I'm sure a lot of you do too. It sucks that had to happen, that those things are happening or have happened and still happening. But I'm also thankful that we're doing things like this right now. And we're making sure that their deaths are not in vain. And that we're coming together and realizing that it's our responsibility. There's no more waiting for things to come around and do it for us. This is our world and this is our time. So again, a lot of this conversation I'm going to have with you guys, although I love the art, I'm a photographer, I'm going to get into my story, the vibes and all that. But I know I'm 34 years old now, and I just know the importance that we have a lot more power than a lot of times we realize. This is our world. This is our time. It's our city, our state. Look, like our culture, like, yo, like it's beautiful. And again, this is what I love about the positive side of everything that's going on. So to get into today's topic, Black Lives Matter. Um, Man, crazy experience on so many different levels. Oh no, I gotta tell you about me. Oh, sorry. My name's Kamal X. I'm originally from New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey. And I've been traveling the world for about 5 or 6 years. I've lived in a lot of different places. I am a nomad that is shifting, obviously, but I got into photography maybe like, I think about 4 years ago, but just to take pictures while I was traveling, just so I can put it on the gram or whatever. But I realized maybe 3 years ago, I started taking it seriously. I started realizing that like this was a release of some sort. And it's naturally like I really did not see this coming. I swear. Like I never like doing this, all this is like brand new to me. This is my first ever art show, period. First time I've ever even talked about my art openly in this kind of a forum. So this is really unbelievable to me in so many ways. And again, gratitude. But that's a lot. The story kind of went from traveling the world to creating documentary style photography, street photography, and then just getting more into like telling stories and making sure the stories mattered and making sure that the images were not about glitz and glam or traveling just to say, oh, look where I'm at. Hey, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. But more so like tell the story of the places I was visiting, because it was very like, there's a lot to travel if you've ever traveled, or even just in your own city. Like if you really like take time to explore, it's so amazing the things you start to notice. So street photography definitely opened up a different way of looking at life for me. And the beautiful thing that for me, as I was transitioning from the travel photographer, one of the things that I noticed in my photography was like, it's dope that I'm taking pictures of all these things that I'm not necessarily connected to, even though we're all human. I'm trying to build that connection. I realized like I still have to go home. Like my home, USA is dope. Like there's a lot of story there too. So maybe about a year ago, I was already making a decision like, yo, I need to like focus more on projects in my home, tell stories that look and feel like me. So this literally is that for me. And I just did not see it coming. Obviously, none of us seen this happening. But this literally is like, I guess I kind of my intuition was already feeling something coming, because when you look at the images that I've created, this literally is a part of a decision that I made about a year ago. And the beautiful, I'm going to call it beautiful, the challenging part of the photos that you see in the moment, this whole dialogue is not just, and the reason why I'm calling it in the moment is because I had to make a decision before I even took those photos. Like, granted, I wanted to take photos that meant something to me. I wanted to take photos of things that I really connected to from culturally and just being an American. But COVID is going down. So I remember Ahmaud Arbery, his murder, and then I remember George Floyd's murder. And I remember thinking to myself, yo, it's probably going to go down. Like, there's probably going to be like protests for real. But then I was thinking to myself, like, but, you know, COVID is going down and this is serious. Like, this is a pandemic. This is nothing to play with. So I didn't know how that would go. And I think it was like the first night, and I think this happened in Minnesota, right? Minnesota, I believe. Yeah, the first night, I think CNN showed like people protesting. So then I had a decision to make. And it took me literally 3 days, I think 3 or 4 days before I decided to do it, because I was really back and forth about, well, do I go out there and photograph and put my life on the line, literally? Because I'm the one that is not playing when it comes to like connecting with people and social distancing. Like I have like masks, gloves, like I'm wearing everything covered, even though it's 80 degrees outside. You should see my doorway. Like I have like the cleaning station. Like I don't play with it. I've literally throughout this several months this has been, I've maybe spent time with 2 to 3 people. So that's to give you an idea of how I am and how I'm going about this from my personal experience, from my personal decision making anyway. And man, so when this came up when this came up to play, I had to make an internal decision about what I was going to do. And I think this is something I want to relate to everyone. Everyone, I think, has these decisions in terms of what are you going to do? How are you going to stand up? What legacy are you going to leave behind? How are you going to, in your own way, this is my way, by mind you, you can have your own way, but what way am I going to make sure that I am doing something, not just to make sure that I speak up for what's going on outside and the injustices that are going on and make sure I'm fighting a good fight, but also to become a better human being. And I think that's a big part of all this that's going on. Black Lives Matter, the pandemic, America, all this craziness going on. I think the core lesson that I'm feeling in my heart that connects us all, that brings unity to all of us, is realizing to kind of go inward, because we're doing so much pointing, that side, this side, that side. You did this, you should do this, you should do this. And most times when you point at people, they normally don't respond well to it. Most times, unless they're inviting that pointing, right? So what I realized was maybe this is more of an internal dialogue, and maybe we're going about it the wrong way. Maybe we need to look inward and just become better people. Because the truth is, all of us can be better. All of us. I don't care who you are. We're all on this journey. We're all alive right now, which is a beautiful thing too, a blessing. So how do we become better people? What do we do to be better people? And for me, I realized that documenting the protests and putting a light from my perspective was about me becoming a better person, because it took me getting out of my own way and realizing that it's not about me and that it's something bigger than me. I started thinking about George Floyd, and I thought to myself, that could have been me. That could have been my friends. That could have been anybody that I know. And who am I to sit in a house knowing I have a gift, knowing that, whether you think it's good or not, but I think I have a gift, to capture moments and tell stories. Well, who am I to sit back and be silent? So I had to make an internal decision for me to be in the moment, to take away all the distractions and all the ideas and the fears and just focus on something, focus on what I can do. And for me, it was taking those photos and going outside. So when I went out there, and please believe I had so much gear, I was covered up. Like, you wouldn't even know it was me. But I'm tall, I'm 6'5", so maybe you might notice my height if you knew me personally. But like, I had all the gear. I even brought like these visors, like these like clear eye. Thank God I didn't do that. But like, but I had these clear eye visors. So I was so afraid to go out there, and let alone be around hundreds of people, thousands of people, some of the protests I've been to. And the thing that was amazing yet challenging, I probably can't even think of a word for it, was once I got out there, like, there was so many people and there was so much energy. And we're coming from being in a house for months already. So that was a challenge. And I told myself, well, if you're going to be out here, you better be out here. You better like not be scared and timid. You got to be in your zone. You have to be in the moment. You got to let go again. And you got to live for other people's memory. You got to remember that you're creating tomorrow, and that it's up to us. It's not up to anyone else to tell these stories. One of the things that also inspired me to go outside was when I started noticing the imagery that was being told or put on these websites and on television. And I give love to all art forms, and we all got a voice. Do your thing. But what I was noticing, that there was a lot of photos that did not resemble what I felt was really going on. I felt like it was more about the destructive stuff. It was more about like the fire and brimstone of it. It was just very like hatred feeling. Obviously, rage is real, and I have photos that I think depict that, but I thought it was way too much, and it was taking away from the real message. And I felt like the photographers that were taking these photos were looking more for shock value versus telling a real story, telling the truth of the story. It's about what can get people clicks and make people react. And then this is feeding people's minds of what's happening. And it's not really what's happening. Well, I didn't think that was happening. So that was another reason why I went out there. And when I went out there, I was so surprised to see these things that I did not expect based on what I was seeing on television and what I was seeing scrolling on the gram. Because there was so much love out there. It was so much like rawness too. Like the fact that we were standing for something and we were doing it in the face of COVID and the damn pandemic, and realizing that we were all in our own way putting our lives on the line for a message that really meant something to us, something that was beyond our lives, something to change the bull crap that was going on before us. So many people stayed silent, and that's why we're still picking this crap up. So we had to, I really felt that when I was out there, we really were like pushing for something, especially in the beginning. Like it was a different level of fear to be out there and being in the moment and making sure that we were in some kind of way, like making a change. One of the most surreal moments for me out there, I remember I was in San Francisco for this one, and it was like over there by Mission High School, I believe. And there was literally thousands of people out there. I did not expect to be that many people out there. It was crazy. Like it was so jam packed with people, and my senses were going crazy. So I was like, "Whoa, get away from me. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. Don't ask me about my camera because you're talking to me. I don't want," like, this is literally my mentality. And, but again, I always would switch back to like remembering. And the beautiful thing that happened, because, and I'll be honest with you, like out of thousands of people, I felt like there might have been maybe 20%, if that, were people of color. So, and that's been an interesting thing in itself to experience, which is it's a beautiful thing though, because it says that we're really everyone's on board, which is beautiful. But when you're there and you're a part of the minority in a protest that's about you, and you hear everyone saying Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And as a Black person, a Black man, I didn't know how to take, like, it was unbelievable. I've never seen America care about me like that before. I've never walked down, and anyone of color knows this, like, to hear that people that don't look like you fighting for you, and it's always been us fighting for us and trying to prove things and trying to show people like, yo, this is really happening. We're telling you this is crazy. You're going to argue with me and tell me what my experience is, which is craziness. I'm telling you this is injustices are happening every day. So to feel like that many people pushing for your rights, outraged, a lot of them more outraged than us in a lot of different ways. Pushing for our rights was a very healing, remarkable moment for me. And something that, again, things you don't necessarily see put on television or put on the gram. Is more about all these wars and fights and craziness and pointing fingers. But again, there's something beautiful happening. And it's up to us to, like, for me to tell the story and make sure. And I try to do that with my photos. I really do. I try to I'm honest to what's happening, but I'm also thinking to myself, I gravitate towards stories that are from the heart, something that really brings us somewhere and connects us and tells a truthful story that shows responsibility. Because there were protests that I went to, especially late at night, where things would change. It was not things that I want to put I left. Like, it was just getting destructive. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't feel like this fight was the fight that was for me. I didn't feel like that at all. I felt like an outsider in these things. And I realized that, that's not the whole story. And maybe this is where the things that I was seeing on CNN and on people's stories that were making me go, I don't feel like that's the vibe. But again, art is art, right? So it's not so you share it any way you want, but the story that I choose to feel and accept and realize it's really going on, I try to show. and my photos. And I tell this story because I really do feel that, like I was saying in the beginning of this, that we all have like not just a responsibility, but a chance to really make a change. One of the things that I've seen at a lot of I went to like dozens of protests at this point, and I've heard a lot of speakers speak, and a lot of times you start noticing people say the same thing, and it's okay because it's like it needs to get in there. We need to hear it. We need to hear it. So that's cool. But there was something that I wasn't hearing that I really wanted to hear, and I'm happy that this is happening because this is giving me an opportunity to share it with you guys. And I think when it comes to change, whether it's personal or the world, we often can think of it so big in terms of what it takes to do that we can forget just how powerful our daily decisions are and how small steps make big change. Bricks make houses. You don't just make a house. It's brick by brick by brick by brick. So the onus I felt like was always like, yeah, we got to fight. We got to vote. We do 100%. But the thing that I was seeing missing was like, well, what about the thing that connects us all? That even if you aren't at this rally for whatever reason, what's something that I can say that we can all take in that will that I believe will make a better world and make people that see the world differently, that have their own ideas and whatever it might be, can maybe have more conversations and grow. And I realized it's about becoming a better person. And what does that look like? So the question becomes like, yeah, so I want to be a better person. What is that? Like putting more posts out? Like, is that like reading a couple books? Maybe. Maybe it's about, because the thing I learned about becoming a better person at 34 years old is that it takes to be greater, you have to expand. And to expand, you have to take new things on. You have to start asking different types of questions. You have to start researching different types of things. You have to start talking to different kinds of people if you're going to expand, period. Like if you just stay in your box, no matter who you are, all of us, if you just stay in your world where everything always makes sense to you, you're growing, but you're growing within the ecosystem that you've already created, then how are you you might be a good person, but are you becoming greater? Are you becoming better? We're alive, right? So how do we make sure that our journey is something that when we look back, we look at our legacy and we say, wow, we did that. I did that. I was a part of that. And I think a lot of people that were coming to the protest, or a lot of us in general, I think, again, it's like, yeah, you don't have to be a photographer. You don't have to be an artist of any kind. You don't have to start like a nonprofit organization, even though those are amazing. Do it if you feel it in your heart. But you can do simple things. You can start having conversations with people and asking different types of questions. You can start researching things. You can start looking at movies. You can start like finding new crafts. I think all of us have gifts. All of us have gifts. And I know that, and this is why this is such a dope experience, because this is a part of me being greater in my own way, just being a better human being in my own way by reaching out and doing my first art show. This is something that didn't come to me. I had to like do the photos. I had to like figure out how you do it, send emails out. Thank you so much, Michelle. You're amazing. And she responded like, yo, let's do it. And like, that would have never happened if I never expanded myself. I would not be talking to you right now if I did not expand myself. So it makes me think like, whether it's art or whatever medium you have in you, whatever your gift is, whatever it is that you may be using or not, it's like, you have to know like, there's something in you. And there's nothing wrong with like embracing that and seeing where it goes, because you never go. I have a couple things there's a couple photos that I really want to talk about. I had to get that off my chest. I'm sorry, just from the heart. But to get more into the photography itself, there's definitely 4 photos that I want to talk about. Please feel free to ask questions too. I'm here. You can definitely type If you're not logged in, I think you have to like do a login to like ask questions, but please ask questions. But the first photo transitioning to the art is the rage. And this is a powerful, powerful photo. And this, again, the thing I love about this photo, this was taken in Oakland. This was a smaller protest too. And the thing that happened was there was a protest happening, and then, but it wasn't a big protest, it was small. And I was there and I was just waiting it out, seeing what happened. Across were police with the line up right across from their police station. And he and like two other people were like to the far right, and they were kind of like getting like amping each other up, but they weren't actually a part of the protest. But I heard them as I was taking photos, like talking about injustice and just feeling the vibe. It just felt like something was going on over there. And I remember at one point he started pointing at the police officers across the street. It was like, man, like, what are you doing over there? Like, why aren't you over here with us? Like, why aren't you fighting for injustice with us? Why are you being silent for a paycheck? Like, you know, this isn't right. Like, what are you doing over there? Like, he was saying things like just directly and very loud. He's getting louder and louder and louder to the point where he started walking towards the police line. So he's walking towards the police line and he goes, he starts yelling at the police, same thing. Like, what are you doing over there? You see, like, you're going to really be quiet for a paycheck. Why don't you kneel with us? Why don't you realize the injustice? This isn't right. This is about racism. Like, what is going on? And he's going off. And this is the point where I'm literally under him. I'm 6'5", but somehow I got under him. And that literally got that shot. And the thing that I really like about this photo and I like that you can't see the police nor really the protesters, is because what he did after talking to the police was he looked at the protesters too. And he started going, not off, I wouldn't say, but saying, we all need to realize that this is not about police brutality. Although this is a symptom of what's happening, this is about racism. And just looking at the police and pointing the finger at the police and thinking that it's okay to point over there and not realize this is a human issue. This is a America issue. He was saying the same thing to both sides. So one of the things that I really love about this photo is that he's demanding something. You can see that he's demanding for something. And I love that I didn't put the police or the protesters really in the photo, because it puts onus on all of us to realize that we all have to wake up and realize that we have to come together and we need to all be greater people. So I really, really appreciate this photo a lot. And it was such an organic thing because literally I just happened to be sitting at the front of the police line, just there, and he literally started walking towards me. I don't know what it was, but he walked right over me, literally. Like, I was just like, but it was such a dope feeling, a dope vibe. And that I love this photo. So the second photo that I'll speak about is Revolution Televised. And this one is so dope because at first I didn't like it. At first I thought that I did not like that he had the camera in his hand. I hated it. Right. I was like, put the camera down, man. Put the camera. You know, you can't, as a photographer, you can't affect it. You can't tell anyone, like, I'm about truth. So I can't say, hey man, please put I'm not going to do that. So at first I didn't like it, even though everything else was so dope about it. But then I remember I sent this to a friend of mine. I hope she's like paying attention to this, but like, I said, yo, what do you think about this? And she said, it's the sign of the times. It's amazing. And I was like, whoa, I didn't think about it that way. So I realized the power of the phone and the fact that the phone and the video record is the reason why we're able to like put put all this stuff to not the forefront, but like it's telling the truth about what's happening out here with these injustices and these murders. And without these phones, none of this would be happening. This will still be something that people were saying, no, it's not happening. This isn't truthful. No, there's so many good cops. What are you talking about? He must have did something wrong. No, this is truth. This is really happening. Racism is real. And the phone has like really revolutionized how we are choosing, what we're choosing to see and the truth about what's happening. So at first I didn't like this photo, but now I love it because it says just the times that we are in and the fact that that phone is literally such a big part of our revolution. And that's just a beautiful thing also. The next photo that I'll talk about, and this one is a harder one to speak about, is Floyd Forever. Harder because it's just sometimes when it comes to art and photography, I just feel like sometimes like putting words to things doesn't necessarily help it. Sometimes you just want people to feel things and discover for themselves and just understand like, yo, this is, how do you feel? Like, I'd rather not tell you what to feel about certain things, or suggest what you should feel anyway. But this one is powerful because to me, I think we're all human again. And it's about not pointing fingers, and it's about realizing what unifies us. Unity is the big thing. Unity and harmony is all I keep thinking about when I think about everything we're going through and what's missing. And when I see this photo, I see the human in that cop. I see the person that is tired and just defeated and saddened. Does not, probably a great guy, probably works hard for the city, probably has always been a stand-up person. Like a lot of my friends, I have friends that are cops, they've been that way before they became cops in terms of just being outstanding individuals and just helping people. Some of them are really like, they live that life for real. It's who they are. And when I see this person, I think about that type of a person. And although it's real and we all got to take the hit, we all got to realize that to make change, it hurts. It doesn't look cool. It doesn't look sexy. It can be painful. I feel like this perfectly encompasses that for me, from what I see. Someone else may see something else, but that's what I see. I see truth, like just raw truth about the reality of what's going on out here, and the fact that they are human beings at the same time. Like, we have to realize that is a human being that you're talking to. Like, and you can't treat people the way, you have to treat people with respect. I just don't care. Like I'm not, I just can't. Like, there's innocent people that should not be being talked to the way I've seen at some of these protests. Like, yeah, we got pain, we got issues, and we got to get it out. But respect is important, especially when you want someone to respect you. I just believe in taking the higher road. That's me. And this photo, I think, really gives them a sense of honesty and humility to a degree. And the last photo, which has to do especially with being in the moment, and really speaks on this whole unity and harmony thing. We need answers. This photo, again, I think these things just stand for themselves, but I really feel like this is about having a conversation, two worlds coming together. And I love that even though he's like in his face, like, yo, what's up? Like, give me some answers. Like, this doesn't make any sense, which is truthful, but it's still coming from a space from when I was there, it was respect. They were having a real dialogue. I didn't see like yelling and cursing and like name calling. I saw like real anger and rage, but I also saw respect. And the cop that he's speaking to, they were having an honest dialogue for about, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes. And I was just there. And it just so happened that was the moment that I captured. But I think it perfectly captured what was happening from the perspective of the protests in Black Lives Matter that I feel is not necessarily getting told or not necessarily being represented as well as I wish it was, because there's a lot of good things that are happening that don't look great, or they might be hard to go through, but we're going somewhere, versus it being, I'm not going to talk to you. You don't exist. You're not human to me, or whatever ways people can go about treating others, where there's definitely not going to be any growth. There's definitely not going to be any coming together. And if anything, hate creates more hate. And we need more love. We need more unity. We need more harmony. So as I close with these photos and go into the Q&A portion of this talk, I just want to also remind everyone the importance of harmony, unity, being in the moment, and realizing that you do have a voice and there's something that you could push. There's something that you could be doing to become a better person. So that's the vibe. I hope all that made some sense. Jeez. This has been a really dope experience. Thank you so much. I'm going to look through some questions now. We have about 10 more minutes, and I'll try to get to them and ask what I see here. How do you feel about your photos being black and white? Did you shoot any in color? Okay, yeah. So I never shoot in black and white. So this is actually the first time I've ever done it. Most of all of my stuff pretty much is in color, except for recently. And the reason why I chose, it felt like it just makes you pay more attention to what's actually happening. I found like with this is way more about like the story and just getting like the truth. Like I'm not really into like colors, and sometimes colors can be a distraction. So with photography anyway. So for me, I realized black and white was the route to go. And it just, again, it creates, you pay attention to more what's actually going on versus some of the coloring can take you away from what's really going on. I do have some in color. I have a lot of photos, like I have a lot more photos. I'm working on a bigger project that will be available when it's done, but it's, there are a lot of photos that are also in color that the color kind of gives it a different vibe too. But I think, but for the most part, I'm sticking to black and white with this. It's been really cool. What do you want people who see your photographs to learn or take away from your work? I think for me, it's always about everything is about reflection. Everything is about realizing what unifies us and connects us versus the things that separate us. A lot of times I think we can get so, we can get so into our world that we forget that it's like we are all together. So one of the things I always try to do is find something that can make you connect to the photo. So by connecting to the photo, I feel or hope that it makes that person or the viewer reflect about themselves. I never want someone to look at my photo and just look at, oh, look at that. I want them to say, look at that, but also feel that. And now think about yourself and go like, wow, this makes me feel lots of different emotions and things. And that's always been my goal. I want you to feel something. I remember years ago, I used to do these forums, and when people would come and talk about different life things, and it would get deep. But then I noticed sometimes people would leave, and I would ask, like, what did you leave with? Like, it was a dope, we dialogued, there was a talk, but what did you leave with? And when people were saying nothing, I was like, oh, that's not enough. Like, no. So same mentality goes in my photography. I don't want you to see my photography and just go, oh, that was nice. Next. My goal is to make sure you feel something. So you take some of that with you as you continue to go on your journey, for sure. Have you considered traveling to protests happening in other parts of the country? Yeah, good question. Other parts of the country. So I am going to DC for the March on Washington, which will be this will be the anniversary for the I Have a Dream speech. So I have my ticket. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be covered up with everything. I might put the visors on for that, because that plane ride is going to be real. But yeah, I'm going to the March on Washington, D.C., which is going to be August 27th or 28th, I believe. And I'm going out there, and this is going to be a part of this major project that I'm doing. I'm so excited about that. And I'm also going to be going back to New York to check out some vibes out there. I believe they're still fighting and protesting in the streets there. So definitely, Washington, D.C. and New York, and maybe LA. Maybe LA. That's a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make LA happen. I have to go down there anyway. So I would love to get like those four. Like that would be like so powerful. That's the vibe. Have you ever shot for publications? Yes, I actually recently got into New York Times. One of these photos actually, Rise, which is available for sale on the site. Oh yeah, man, please make sure you guys donate and stuff. Make sure you donate. Geez, this is a fundraiser, man. Remember that. It's like a button right there, right? Donate, because these guys are really cool and amazing. But yeah, New York Times recently put me in one of their articles for one of the photos from this set of photos. So that was my first major publication. So publications is something that's still new. Like I told you guys, it's like this is brand new for me. I was doing it more for like hobby and just trying to get good and making sure I can do like just good work. So now I'm at a point where I'm taking chances and finally like putting it out there and seeing what happens. So it's beautiful that you guys are a part of this. So this is definitely where I'm at this point. Let me see. Check out some of these. Said skateboarder and the kitten. Yeah, that was a good one. Skateboarder and the kitten was very interesting because I remember that was the major protest where there was like so many people out there, and I saw it. I was like, whoa! So I ran over there so fast, but I didn't want to be too loud or like. You got to kind of learn how to be like you can't have people like not be real. So you don't want to make people go, oh, what are you doing? You know, so you have to kind of really become, it's almost like a cat-like thing. And I remember I saw him and literally he was that low. So I had to get really low to get that photo. And he didn't see me. It was weird. Like I really like, I was like, I guess he was so focused or whatever. And I remember when I took that photo, I was like, I knew that was going to be something, right? But I was surprised when I saw it later and there's like a guy in the back and his hand is like, like so it kind of, although the cat and the thing, that's a beautiful thing, and it just shows how dynamic we are and just how to see men in a different light. And but I also like the idea of the person kind of like, you can take that any way you want, but that's also like a part that I really, really like about it. Thank you guys for the comments. I'm seeing like people that loved it and man, I really wow. Thank you guys for all the love. Would you like to make a living as an artist? Is this a long-time goal? Yeah, it is. But I will be honest about this, though. My goal isn't about money at this point. Like, although I do want to like continue to create opportunities and get stories out, I think that's the main thing for me at this point in my career. Like, it's really more about getting the story out and telling the truth and making this world feel something that I think matters. What happens with that, you know, if things happen, great, like amazing. I will not be saddened by it. But like, I do feel like that's the goal, to just focus on that. And whatever happens, happens. I'm grateful that I have, I'm also in real estate. So I have a different means of like survival. So this is more for, this is a real passion of mine. It's something I really care about. And I don't want to make the idea of just making a career out of it become more important than the art itself. I want to make sure that I'm making art that really means something to me and it gives me that level of freedom. But of course, it would be great to make a career out of this. That is definitely the goal overall for sure, but that's not like my driving factor in any way, shape, or form, especially with this, you know, this is a lot of new territory for myself. So I think that is my time. This is the time we're switching off to new vibes. Again, thank you guys for showing up. I love you guys. Again, I really do mean that. Give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. We're in it together. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Alex. You guys are amazing. 111 Minna. Amazing vibes. I love all you. Like, seriously, this is so dope what we're doing and coming together in such a powerful way. So I hope those words connected with you, and I hope you take it with you on your journey, and much love and light. Checking out. Peace, I think.